Have you ever found yourself caught in the challenging space of twin flame separation, wondering if your spiritual progress is somehow tied to your twin's resistance? You're not alone. This profound spiritual journey often brings up complex questions about personal growth, divine timing, and the nature of soul connections. The twin flame path often unfolds in unexpected ways, with one partner typically awakening to the spiritual nature of the connection, while the other remains unaware or in denial. This natural asymmetry in awareness can create intense emotional turbulence, leaving the awakened twin questioning their progress and purpose. Let's dispel a common misconception right away. Your spiritual evolution isn't dependent on your twin's current state of awareness or willingness to do inner work. The truth is far more empowering. This journey is fundamentally about individual soul growth and divine alignment, not about fixing yourself to attract another person. What if I told you that many twin flame connections are designed primarily for spiritual awakening rather than physical union? This perspective shift can transform your entire approach to the journey. The separation phase, rather than being an obstacle, often serves as a powerful catalyst for deeper self-discovery and authentic transformation. Think of it this way. Just as a butterfly doesn't need its cocoon to stay intact to complete its metamorphosis, your transformation doesn't require your twin's active participation. Your path to awakening is uniquely yours, guided by divine timing and your soul's wisdom. Picture two oak trees growing side by side in a forest. Though their roots may intertwine beneath the soil, each must reach for the sunlight on its own, growing at its own pace, in its own unique direction. This perfectly captures the truth about spiritual growth during twin flame separation. It's an independently sovereign journey. The common misconception that one twin's resistance can hold back the other's evolution is like believing the moon can prevent the sun from rising. In reality, the awakened twin's growth often accelerates during separation, as the very pain of disconnection becomes the catalyst for profound transformation. Here's where things get fascinating. While these connections are indeed deeply intertwined at a soul level, the physical journey of growth must be walked alone. Think of it like quantum entanglement. Two particles can be connected across vast distances, yet each maintains its own distinct properties and behaviors. The awakened twin often discovers that what initially feels like abandonment is actually a divine invitation to self-discovery. As one spiritual teacher beautifully expressed, the process is not about healing. You are not broken. It's about surrender, letting go of conditioned beliefs that mask your true nature. Consider this profound truth. Many twin flame contracts are designed primarily for spiritual awakening rather than physical union. The very intensity of separation creates the perfect conditions for unprecedented soul growth. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, uses this sacred connection not as a destination, but as a catalyst for individual evolution. When we release the need for our twin to catch up or validate our journey, we discover something remarkable. Our growth was never dependent on their participation. Like a flower breaking through concrete, the soul's evolution cannot be contained or constrained by another's choices. This understanding liberates us from the mental prison of codependency and allows us to embrace what the journey is truly about, coming home to ourselves. In this light, separation becomes not a punishment, but a profound gift, creating the sacred space needed for each soul to bloom in its own divine timing. Imagine a master dancer performing a solo on stage, moving with such grace and intention that the absence of their partner becomes part of the choreography itself. This is the essence of the spiritual twin's journey, a profound solo performance that carries the consciousness of the entire dance. The spiritual twin often emerges as the first to recognize the sacred nature of the connection, experiencing what mystics call the divine remembering. Like a person suddenly gaining sight in a world of the blind, they begin to perceive layers of reality that their twin cannot yet comprehend. This awakening isn't a burden, but rather a divine invitation to pioneer the path of consciousness for both souls. Think of it as the first ray of dawn breaking through the darkness. The spiritual twin becomes the herald of a new consciousness, not just for themselves, but for the collective journey. Their early awakening serves a higher purpose, like a lighthouse guiding ships through stormy waters. They often develop enhanced intuitive abilities, psychic insights, and a deeper connection to their soul's mission. The beauty of this role lies in its sovereignty. While the matrix twin may remain embedded in conventional reality, the spiritual twin's evolution continues unimpeded, like a river finding its way to the ocean regardless of the obstacles in its path. Their journey becomes a testament to the power of individual awakening within the context of a shared soul connection. What makes this path particularly fascinating is how the spiritual twin's awareness often catalyzes subtle changes in both souls, even when the matrix twin remains unconscious of the process. It's similar to how the moon influences the tides, whether or not the waters are aware of its pull. The spiritual twin's inner work creates ripples in the collective consciousness that touch both souls in mysterious ways. This sacred role isn't about carrying the burden of both souls' evolution, but rather about pioneering a path of consciousness that eventually benefits both twins. Like a master key that opens multiple locks, the spiritual twin's awakening creates energetic blueprints for transformation that serve both souls' highest good, operating beyond the limitations of physical awareness or conscious recognition. Imagine two stars orbiting each other in the vast expanse of space, one brilliantly illuminated, conscious of its radiance, while the other remains temporarily veiled in shadow, unaware of its own luminosity. This is the essence of the matrix twin dynamic, a fascinating aspect of the twin flame journey that reveals profound truths about consciousness and spiritual evolution. The matrix twin often lives what appears to be a conventional life, deeply embedded in the material world, sometimes completely unaware of the profound spiritual connection they share. Like a masterpiece covered in layers of dust, their divine nature remains temporarily obscured by the dense fabric of everyday reality. Yet this is not a flaw in the divine plan. It's an essential part of the cosmic choreography. Think of it as a grand cosmic play where one actor is aware they're performing while the other is so deeply immersed in their role that they've temporarily forgotten it's a performance. The Matrix twins' immersion in the physical reality serves a crucial purpose. They become an anchor point, a grounding force that helps maintain the balance between spiritual and material realms. What makes this dynamic particularly fascinating is that the Matrix twins' growth continues beneath the surface, like a seed germinating in dark soil. While they may not be consciously engaging in spiritual practices or acknowledging the connection, their soul is evolving in its own unique way. The very intensity of the connection works on their consciousness at a subtle level, gradually dissolving the barriers between their everyday self and their higher nature. This asymmetry in awareness isn't a mistake or a problem to be fixed. It's a perfectly orchestrated aspect of the twin flame dynamic. Just as the moon doesn't need to be conscious of how it affects the tides to fulfill its role, the Matrix twins' apparent unawareness serves a higher purpose in the spiritual evolution of both souls. While the spiritual twin might initially feel frustrated by their counterpart's apparent lack of awareness, this very tension creates the alchemical conditions necessary for profound transformation. It's a reminder that spiritual evolution doesn't always wear the face we expect it to, and that divine timing operates on a scale far beyond our human understanding. Imagine a tightly clenched fist gradually opening, each finger releasing its tension until the palm lies open, ready to both give and receive. This is the essence of true surrender in the twin flame journey. Not a defeat, but a profound transformation of consciousness that liberates both souls from the prison of expectation. Surrender isn't about giving up or admitting defeat. It's an alchemical process where the lead of attachment transforms into the gold of divine trust. Like a river that doesn't fight its path to the ocean but flows naturally around every obstacle, surrender is the art of allowing life to unfold in its perfect divine timing. Think of it as learning to dance with uncertainty. When you truly surrender, you stop trying to choreograph every move and instead allow the music of the universe to guide your steps. The paradox is beautiful. The moment you release your grip on the outcome, you align more deeply with the natural flow of divine timing. The most profound aspect of surrender is the shift from external seeking to internal knowing. It's like finally realizing that you've been searching for your glasses while wearing them all along. The peace that comes with surrender isn't a resignation to loss, but rather an awakening to the truth that the connection exists beyond physical proximity or mutual acknowledgement. This state of being transcends the conventional understanding of relationships. You begin to recognize that the very intensity that once caused such pain was actually the pressure needed to crack open your heart to a deeper truth. The suffering wasn't punishment, but preparation, like a seed that must break open in darkness before it can reach for the light. In this space of surrender, something magical occurs. You discover that letting go doesn't mean losing the connection, but rather allowing it to exist in its purest form. like quantum entangled particles that remain connected regardless of distance. The twin flame bond persists beyond physical separation or conscious awareness. The ultimate paradox of surrender is that when you truly let go of needing any particular outcome, you align most powerfully with the divine plan. It's in this space of complete acceptance that the real magic of transformation occurs. Not because you're trying to make it happen, but because you've finally created the space for it to unfold naturally. Imagine a caterpillar desperately trying to hold onto its chrysalis, even as its wings are ready to emerge. This perfectly captures the paradox of twin flame union. What we think we want isn't always what our soul needs for its highest evolution. The profound truth that many twin flame journeys are designed primarily for spiritual awakening rather than physical union opens up an entirely new dimension of understanding. Think of it like a cosmic dance choreographed before birth. Some twin flame pairs agree to meet briefly in the physical realm, create an energetic explosion that catalyzes both souls awakening, and then separate to fulfill their individual missions. The intensity of the connection isn't meant to lead to a romantic happy ending, but rather to crack open both souls to their higher purpose. The journey reveals itself as a masterclass in spiritual evolution, where the apparent failure of physical union becomes the greatest gift. Like a master alchemist using intense heat to transform base metals into gold, the universe uses the seeming absence of union to transmute human consciousness into divine awareness. The longing for the twin becomes the very force that pushes us beyond the limitations of 3D reality into higher dimensions of being. What makes this truth particularly profound is how it liberates us from the prison of expectation. When we understand that many twin flame contracts are specifically designed for spiritual awakening rather than physical union, we can finally surrender to the divine plan without resistance. The pain of separation becomes not a punishment, but a sacred initiation into higher consciousness. This understanding doesn't diminish the connection, it elevates it. The real union, it turns out, isn't about merging two physical lives, but about each soul coming into union with its own divine nature. By releasing the need for physical union, we paradoxically align ourselves more deeply with divine timing and our soul's highest path. The journey becomes not about reaching a destination, but about embracing the transformation that the longing itself creates. The twin flame journey ultimately reveals a profound truth. Your spiritual evolution is a sovereign path that cannot be hindered by another's choices. While the initial pain of separation and your twin's denial may feel overwhelming, it actually serves as a powerful catalyst for deeper self-discovery and authentic transformation. Remember that each soul has its own divine timeline for awakening. Your twin's current resistance doesn't diminish your progress. In fact, it often accelerates it by pushing you toward greater self-reliance and inner wisdom. Your path forward is clear. Continue your spiritual evolution while releasing expectations about your twin's journey. Trust that as you elevate your own consciousness and embrace your divine purpose, you're contributing to the collective awakening, whether or not physical union manifests. The real twin flame journey is about coming home to yourself, and that's a path no one else can block or control. Remember, you're not waiting for someone to catch up. You're walking your own path of divine purpose, exactly as you're meant to. And that, dear seeker, is the most powerful truth of all.